Hello, good afternoon, class. Today I'll be talking about the proper court procedures, or what are like the proper steps that usually go on normal lawsuits. So I guess the first thing that you would need to take someone to court is have a valid reason, whether he stole from you, broke a contract, injured you. And basically any illegal action that someone else took that affected you, you could take to court. So the first thing that you would need to take someone to court is a valid reason. So once you have that reason, the second thing that you would have to do is hire an attorney. Go to someone who knows what they're doing, what they're talking about, knows the laws, um, can guide you a little bit better. So once you have your reason, once you have your attorney, you would basically take it to a pre-trial procedure. That's where basically the judge is gonna hear your side of the story and is gonna hear the other person's side of the story or the defendant's side of the story, and just look at the evidence. They'll before even going to trial, they'll see what happened, see if there can be a decision based right there with the evidence that they have. There can also be motions to suppress evidence, motion of dismissal. So even before trial, there are a lot of stuff that goes on, before even taking it to trial. Even the pleadings. So, basically where you reveal the facts and the specifics of an issue that's going on. So even before the trial even starts, you already have a hearing, and the judge can make a judgment call just upon the pre-trial. And after you have the pre-trial, and as I mentioned, the judges have various options just with the pre-trial alone. There's a bunch of motions that they can throw, like the motion of dismissal, motion to suppress evidence. So there are a lot of things that can happen. Motions for judgment of the pleas, motion for summary judgment. There are a lot of motions that can go on before the trial even starts. And so you also have to see the discovery of the evidence before everything happens. So before the trial even starts, there are a bunch of things that happen before that. And then obviously you need to have discoveries which are valid. Like there could be evidence that cannot be used in court for basically technical issues. So there are a lot of stuff that a lawyer would have to look out to see what the judge can and cannot use. And then, we have depositions, which is basically when if you have someone who has evidence and saw what happened, they can go, do a testimony, basically, go up to court and say what happened. You have interrogations, you have requests for documents, and there's so many technical issues that happen nowadays where a judge might need, or the police officer might have needed a warrant at the time of your arrest, and since that was invalid, then the arrest was not even valid, and the court case can basically get dropped before even seeing trial. There's a lot of stuff, discoveries and motions that can be gone before the trial, the pre-trial. And so, like, everybody does have the right for a jury trial, which is basically where you have, two parties fighting against each other, the judge, and then you have a jury. Is that the best option? Of course not, because there can be so many different, stuff like any evidence that is shown to the court must be specifically relevant to the specific issues that are going in the court. So there are just so many things that the legal system has to follow. Examination of witnesses and potential motions, opening statements, closing arguments, jury instructions, the verdict. It's just there is so much motion for a new trial. So even if you take your issue to trial, you go through, you present your evidence to the judge, to the jury, you spend weeks or even months in trial, and then you have your final say. Even after that say, you can even have a motion for a new trial. Or you could, go for a motion to reinstate, change the judge, reinstate the case. There are so many. You can appeal for the case, filing for an appeal. There are so many different legal strategies in the legal system that it's crazy. That's why it is essential to get yourself an attorney before involving yourself in any specific legal procedure, because there's just so much that one has to follow that one who doesn't have the expertise is basically, you're alone in the legal world. And, finally, enforcing the judgment, um, requesting court assistance in collecting the judgment, and yeah, they are available for availability for assets as well. And basically, in short, if you're ever having to deal with a legal issue, the first thing that you would want to do is find a lawyer which knows the rules and regulations of that specific topic or instance. If it's someone breached a contract, go to a corporate lawyer, someone who specifically does contracts as a living. If you got into an accident, you go to an accident lawyer. Like, there are so many procedures in the legal system that it's very hard, to know everything. So it's better to find for an expert who knows exactly what you're dealing with and basically help you get the best outcome in life or in the trial. And yeah, that's basically